Hey Maverick Nation, and welcome to the first episode for this year Bullpen Bites in 2025. I hope everybody had a safe, happy new year. Now, I did kind of struggle with it if I did want to do kind of a season review and preview episode going into the new year. And well, of course, as you see, I decided to go ahead and go along with it. So let's kind of jump into things right away. He's starting off with the two teams that are going to be getting into their conference slates tonight, both women's and men's basketball. The men, of course, heading out to North Dakota, while the women host North Dakota tonight at 7. And so let's kind of start on the women's side. The women are coming off of a 7-game unbeaten streak before kind of getting boat raced out at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, of course, at the time was, I believe, ranked within the top 10 in the country. So kind of no surprise there that the ladies kind of got their doors beat off out there in Norman. However, things are looking very, very good for the ladies here so far. Or especially with that 7-game unbeaten streak. Yes, you kind of could look at it and say, hey, well, they weren't really playing anybody of any worth. However, the ladies typically, for the season, have not fared well during the regular season, during the Carrie Banks administration so far. Now, you could chalk that up to she hadn't really had time to install what she had in mind for the program just yet. She hadn't had a full set of her recruits through the program just yet. But the one thing that does stand out about Carrie Banks' teams since she took over the program is that come postseason, they have always really surprised everybody, including a season that saw them snagged the final spot for the Summit League tournament on the last day of the regular season, only to advance all the way to the Summit League championship game, where they ultimately finished as Summit League runner-up. Now, that was something that hadn't been done before on the women's side of things. No 8 had ever knocked off a 1 seed before, or in the women's side of the Summit League tournament. Now, this season, the women are getting off to a kind of hot start. We'll see how things go as far as conference play. It kind of shakes out. But things are looking up for the women this year. They're just going off for the first half of their season. Now, on the men's side of things, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. Again, you can never really be sure of what they're getting right now. Consistently on a night-to-night basis. Just their record currently and going into conference play is 6-9. Not terrible for a mid-major, but then you kind of start taking a bit of a closer look at games. They went up to the farm at Minnesota. It nearly knocked off the Golden Gophers, and then later on they came back home and just got absolutely manhandled by America Christian. Now, so far, again, this is just my observation, but this team does seem to kind of live and die by the three-pointer. When it's not working for them, they seem unwilling to get away from continually trying to check up three-point shots and get them to go down. They need to learn how to adjust in that situation and start with the mentality of, well, okay, if this isn't going to go, if the three-point ball isn't working for us tonight, then we need to find a way, need to pound it inside, get some of these hotter shooters for our opponents in foul trouble, and do what we do best and have been known to do as one of the better teams in the country for the past couple years, and that's make our trips to the charity stripe count. Now, again, we'll see how things go for both the men and women here coming up as they start getting into conference play. Let's hope that both sides really get it going here in conference play, get a high seed going into the Summit League tournament here at the end of the year, and hopefully that both our men's and women's side end up making their first trip to the big dance in March. Now, heading outside, I know probably not right now, considering we did just get a little bit of snow last night. It's cold, but keep in mind that in a few months, since we do have baseball and softball starting back up, so let's sit and take a look over out at Maverick Park. I reckon both Tal Anderson and Anderson Fields and oh jeez, I apologize. As I should have this on the tip of my tongue, and I hung for the name for the softball field, and I do not, and I apologize. It's still early for me. I'm probably going through a little bit of a brain fog right now, so I do apologize. No disrespect, of course, to softball, which of course I am going to kind of profile first. Softball is coming off of one of their best years within the Division I era. Not only did they make the NCAA tournament, but they got their first win in a super regional, regional, and nearly ended up making super regionals, only to, of course, to fall to Columbia regional host Mizzou. Now, softball does lose one of our best pitchers of the Division I era in Cameron Meyer to graduation. However, through the transfer portal, we may have picked up somebody just as good from SIU Edwardsville with an Omaha native coming back home to Omaha. Looking at some of her stats from last year, she was top 5 in the country for strikeouts. It's possibly looking to increase that or match that this year as a member of the Omaha staff. If it is looking like our staff for softball is kind of reloaded, maybe could use a little bit of a boost just on the offensive side going into this year. But again, I look for Omaha softball to have another stellar year, or possibly make a second return in consecutive years to the national tournament, and hopefully get past it just a regional and into a super regional. Now, as far as baseball is concerned, the guys kind of had a little bit of a rough year last year. This year, now, one of the big things that I am excited for softball is during this offseason, they just signed Darren Ruff as an assistant coach. Now, Darren and I, we actually went to high school together, so I'm excited to see my old friend back in town and see what he's able to bring to the table for Omaha baseball. Well, again, we will see what happens there. The biggest challenge for Omaha baseball is going to be competing with perennial conference power Oral Roberts. Again, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, for some of the programs that have a little bit further out to go, for men's and women's soccer and volleyball, volleyball, certainly a bit of a disappointing way to end the year. A first round out in the Summit League tournament, despite securing the number 2 seed for the tournament. And, of course, did make volleyball's version of the NIT. He defeated Lindenwood before losing to host DePaul. Now, volleyball, that could be surprising as to what we're going to get here for the coming season for 2025. And we're losing a lot of experience, but we do have some players that are already making their commitments, already coming in, and that look like they are going to be able to contribute right away. Again, right now, they're one of the furthest out for getting to see what they can do. So we're probably going to have to wait until next fall for that black-white scrimmage at Baxter to really see and kind of get an idea of what we're going to have for the coming season for the volleyball team. Hopefully Matt Buttermore is going to be able to help this team reload, stay at the top of those Summit standings, and get us back into the national tournament. Now turning to the pitch for men's soccer and women's soccer. The men got off to a really hot start this year. This year went undefeated in I cannot remember how many matches to start the year, or off the top of my head, before heading out to Grand Canyon and suffering their first defeat on the year. Here now, of course, you could make the excuse that for that game at GCU, guys were at a little bit of a disadvantage and shit because they hadn't really dealt with that kind of heat up until that point of the year. Here, if I remember right, the area where GCU is located was in the grips of an epic level heat wave where they were still in the triple digits, even in the overnight hours. So could have played a factor in that game. Unfortunately, the guys after that seemed to have a little bit of a drop off. Well, they did secure a fourth place finish within the Summit League to make the conference tournament yet again. But again, we're in early first round out. Now, again, we're going to have to see what it happens there. Big announcement for the men's side, however, is the addition of the Minutemen of UMass. Yes, now I know some people are probably going to make the joke, which UMass. We are speaking of UMass Amherst, not UMass Lowell. So the Minutemen will be a partial member in the Summit League for men's soccer this coming year. Here we will have to wait until schedules start coming out and get finalized to see if we are going to be making a trip out to Amherst or if the Minutemen are going to be making the trip to Omaha to see where we get to play them first. Now, on the women's side, the women, again, made the Summit League tournament and actually ended up getting to host a first-round game this year. Had a fairly good season. Unfortunately, that season ended in the Summit League tournament at home against Earl Roberts. Again, a little bit of a disappointing finish for the ladies. But they are trending in the right direction. Our women's team is becoming one of the more consistent within the Summit League. Kind of the same for the men as well. And the hope for the coming season, they are going to be able to reload. They are going to be able to improve on things and challenge for those top two spots within the Summit League to not only be able to host second round, but also possibly host that final. Where, again, and for both our men's and women's teams, both have made the national championship tournament when they've been able to host, of course, the men knocking off Denver here to make their first appearance within the national tournament, and the women knocking off Oral Roberts in similar fashion, both winning in shootouts to secure their first appearance in the national tournament. So, you know that Alcanelia Field is a fortress when we are hosting championship games like that. So again, hopefully, both teams are going to be able to set up a Summit League Conference final, in Omaha, be able to host that trophy on their home pitch, and once again make another trip to their respective national tournaments. Now, one final thing I want to kind of talk about here is the impact that we as fans have on our incredible student athletes. Now, at the end of the season, and I apologize if my voice breaks or I get emotional here because this is very rewarding for me to have this kind of experience. But at the end of the year for the women's team for soccer, when their season did come to an end at the hands of Oral Roberts, I did kind of hang around, talk with some of the ladies, especially some of the outgoing seniors. Our student athletes are extremely appreciative of it when we show up and we cheer for them and we root them on. When their time as an athlete comes to an end, I have been told by them that getting to hear us cheer for them, seeing us in the stands behind them 100%, it's one of the things that they're going to miss the most about being a student athlete. So know that as fans, even if you're the only one showing up, they appreciate it. They love us for it. And when their time is over, as athletes, it's one of the things that they know they're gonna miss. So know that as a fan, and no matter how many games you're getting out to, that we as fans do make a difference on our student athletes. We have an impact on them. They love and appreciate our support, no matter what. So, appreciate those moments when you're able to get out, however many times it is, to support them, because they appreciate it when we show up, no matter how many of us there are. And as long as I have the opportunity, it's one thing that I'm going to certainly be doing for them, is continually showing up. Oh heck, I'll admit I'm a loudmouth idiot. But to know that our student athletes appreciate it, and appreciate us just being out there, that's certainly something to hold on to and take pride in. And that they like having us there. Even if you're me and you're just being a moron, you're running and yelling a bunch of nonsense and school stuff out there. They appreciate it. But anyway, I get in our athletic year, of course, for the 2025 season starts back up tonight. Men and women's basketball both taking on North Dakota again. Men are traveling out to the ice planet Hoth, that's known as Grand Forks, to take on North Dakota. While of course, the ladies welcome the Fighting Hawks into a much warmer climate. Both games starting tonight at 7:07. Now, of course, the hockey team going to be out at the Cactus Cup this weekend, again taking on Holy Cross Friday night, 9 o'clock. Hopefully, you're all able to catch as many games as you can this year. Again, take pride in your fandom, Maverick Nation. And I hope to see you all out at as many games as possible. And of course, as always, go Mavs!